Hello, welcome to Game Rating Review. My name is Jean-Marc and today I'm talking about the iPhone 7 and Steve Jobs. Yes, so today I'm talking about the iPhone. This isn't an iPhone, this is a Samsung. I hate Samsung. I have a Samsung for work, I have my iPhone for pleasure, and this thing disappoints me so much all the time. I just don't, I don't even know why it's in this video. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, so today I'm talking about the iPhone. Everyone's talking about the iPhone. A lot of mixed feelings going on around the iPhone. I think there are three separate things I want to talk about. Number one, the iPhone itself. So the new iPhone came out, and it has new features, and it has new specs, and even they show off the new iWatch, which is really cool, with it being water resistant as well as the phone a little bit. And then the earbud thing came in, everyone kind of freaked out. It was like, oh no, I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they're forcing us to change our headphones, and I can't believe they're going to have to do this crazy workaround just to get our headphones into the phone just because they don't know how to manage their space differently. And I think that was the biggest issue about the iPhone. Like, if they would have kept everything the same but up the specs, everyone would be like, huh? If it ain't broke, don't work it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's another thing I've noticed in this iPhone conference as well as the last one. So always referring to the first one and working their way up. And we've come a long way from where we came with the iPhone to where we are now. And I agree. I don't think that Apple is evil intrinsically. I think they make a great product. Maybe they've done things that are shady, but they make good stuff. At one point, I think that people are over-exaggerating with the way that they're feeling with the iPhone. And at the same time, I kind of understand where they're coming from. And I think there's a deeper understanding of why people have this negativity towards Apple, and especially towards this conference specifically. It could be summed up in my next point. Part 2, Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs passed away October 2011. That was almost 5 years ago. His legacy lives on through his products, obviously. The iPad, which he had a dream about, the iPhone, and now they're moving on to the iWatch. Since Steve Jobs passed away, something happened. I remember specifically what happened to me. Whenever Steve Jobs died, I was like, oh no, what's going to happen to Apple? Not many people thought that. I mean, some people thought that, and it was a real big loss because he was such a big character, especially when it comes to a company, and he was a big presence. And he was so cocky, and he just knew what he was talking. Whenever he was gone, it kind of left us lost for a little while, but then when the next iPhone came out, we're like, oh, okay, I guess we're okay, because they didn't completely ruin things. Steve Jobs was a great man. And I think the biggest mistake he made was not having a successor. Not having someone come up on stage with him, or having somebody who was kind of his equal. It was just like, oh, it's this guy from this department and this guy from this department, or it was all about him. He never had somebody come up and is like, me and Steve believe in this. Me and Steve believe that this could happen. It was always the Steve Jobs show. So that whenever he passed away, you felt like, well, where's all that innovation going to come? Because he basically took Apple and pulled it out of this realm of relevance and innovation that we're still seeing the ramifications of today. And he done really fantastic things, but I don't think he was so concerned with his legacy because he knew the products would speak for themselves. But I think the mistake he made was not worrying about consumer confidence. When Steve Jobs died at first, I was like, oh no, but then the company started doing weird things. Like, the first thing they came out with was the iPhone 5C, which was a plastic iPhone, and no one bought it. No one bought it. And then the next thing that came out that was confusing was the iPen, which I don't know anyone who owns the iPen. Then they did the iWatch, which I felt like the technology just wasn't there yet to do the iWatch. I like where it's going to go in the future, but I just didn't think the technology was quite there to launch it the way they did. Because all it is a smaller attachment to your phone, and I'm just like, well, I can just pull my phone out. I don't need this watch to help me, look at my phone or whatever. It just seems like a lazy person's device. He started to stumble a little bit there. So part 3, Apple's legacy. It has been a while since Steve Jobs passed away, and it has been a time of us thinking of Apple as more of a corporation and less of it's headed by this person and this person's leading the way. The white-haired guy, I don't remember his name, always starts the keynotes. Isn't Steve Jobs? What you don't realize is Steve Jobs wasn't just this enigmatic figure. He was a smart businessman, and he was very, very smart at selling things. What they're doing today, they're not really selling it the way Steve Jobs did. People were talking about the iPhone 7 keynote. They said that taking their phones was very brave. Since Steve Jobs passed away, you haven't been able to capture the magic that was Steve Jobs. And you haven't been able to have such a polarizing figure or such a revolutionary figure out there. And it seems like they've been trying to play it safe, but also all these weird new features that they've been coming out with seemed like they were pitches that they pitched to Steve Jobs, and he was like, nope. And then whenever he died, they were just like, oh, well, here they are now. Aren't we revolutionary? And a lot of things they're doing also is like they're trying to catch up with Samsung, which is ridiculous. Put a little bit of, not be totally blind, but just focus on what you need to focus on, and that's innovation and being the best company you can be instead of trying to look at others and be like, why didn't we think of that? That never was Apple's thing. Apple was always moving forward, or at least Steve Jobs' thing was always moving forward. So is Apple doomed? I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure they have a lot of smart people there. I'm sure they have a smart marketing department. I'm sure they're great. But there is a chance that another phone company can come in and just take Apple over. Samsung was close, but then their phones started exploding. So they're kind of taking a step back, and they could have capitalized on what was happening with Apple, but now not so much. Please, in the comments down below, tell me what you think about Apple. Tell me what you think about Steve Jobs passing away, and if his passing away really did hurt Apple, and if their legacy can live on to what Steve Jobs left behind. And please hit that like and subscribe button, please. And thank you for watching the Game Rating Review vlog. My name is Jean-Marc and remember that this was all just my opinion.